Good evening, everyone. Okay, so now I'm going to say it again, and I want everyone from Cherry Hill to say it as loud as you can. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, everyone.
My name is Gus Augustus, and I will be serving as moderator tonight. Thank you for your time and your patience, and thank you for taking time out of your busy day. We know that we are up against a Ravens game tonight, so that's right. Give our Ravens a round of applause. And the Orioles. Give the Orioles a round of applause. So and I'm only giving a shout out to the Ravens right now, not only because there's a game, but also because there are a few Steelers fans that I've met on the way in. I just wanted to make sure I drove the purple and orange home. So again, thank you for coming out tonight in Cherry Hill. This is the first of a two-part installment of the mayor hosting a community forum on education. Tonight, we are honored to have you as our special guests. And as our special guests, you have the honor and privilege of asking a question of Mayor Rawlings-Blake, who you can give a hand. And our fabulous new CEO of schools, Dr. Gregory Thornton. And before we get started, I would like to introduce to you a gentleman who is actually founder of the Friendship Public Charter. His name is Donald Hentz. He will give us a welcome.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this fabulous building. On behalf of Principal Garrett, our teachers, our families, our Cherry Hill families, we welcome the mayor. I do want to tell you that this is the third time the mayor has been to this school within the last 2.5 years. So it's not a surprise. And for the new CEO to come to town and visit our schools is quite an honor. Thank you. You all are having your forum at what was a turnaround school, and just the announcement has not come out, but it will, that this school made every single measurement that the state set out for a turnaround school. So thank you for coming.
Thank you, Mr. Hentz. Now it's my honor and privilege to certainly not introduce but to present Mayor Stephanie Rawlings-Blake.
Thank you very much. Good evening, Cherry Hill. It is my pleasure to be here. I promise you I will be brief because we want to hear from you. I'm so pleased to be here with our principal and Mr. Hentz, with the parents who are here and the student. I know when we were knocking on your door over the weekend, everybody was like, what is going on? But we were determined to make sure that we got a great turnout, and I am so pleased that so many of you are here. You know, the Ravens are playing, there's so much going on throughout the city. It's a beautiful night. So I am very grateful, and it is not lost on me that you have chosen your time to spend with us this evening. I want to thank two of my partners in government. First, I want to thank the Vice President of the City Council and your Councilman Ed Reisinger. I think he is the strongest advocate for Cherry Hill that I can imagine. I think the one who's running a tie and a close second is your senator, who is also a big supporter of education, but you can duke it out for first place. Senator Bill Furman, who is also a new dad for the second time. All right. You know, when we were here the other day knocking on doors, making sure that people that everyone knew about this event, we were walking with a young man, and he had a T-shirt on that said "Rich," and I was like, okay. And then I looked at it closer, and it said "Raised in Cherry Hill." And it made me stop and think, because when you grow up, and when you're from Baltimore, you know, Cherry Hill, you have a strong history, you have a very strong identity, and I know with all of the things that are going on now in Cherry Hill, between the school construction and the recreation center that's going on, and all of this lovely, lovely involvement. You know, the best days, I know everybody gets sentimental about the good old days in Cherry Hill, but I don't know about you, I think the best days are yet to come. So I am so pleased to be here with you this evening. We are here to talk about education. We fought, and many of you were in the fight with us, to make sure that we were able to bring over $1 billion in school construction funds to our city. But we have to make sure that we're doing everything we can to make sure that the city is leveraging those dollars to get the best for the schools and for the community. And as this school year starts off, we want to make sure, and I wanted to make sure, our new school CEO had a chance to talk to some of the most active and engaged neighborhoods that we had in the city. So where are we? That's where I brought them first. So I want to thank you all for being here. I'm looking forward to having a great conversation about where our schools are headed. I'm looking forward to hearing from Dr. Thornton. And I don't know about you, am I the only parent in here glad the school's about to start again? I only got 2 people raising their hand. You know you're excited. Yeah, all right. The most wonderful time of the year. All right, thank you so much for coming out. Doctor, can I turn it over to Dr.
Yes,
Thornton?
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
I would like to introduce someone who, before he even signed the papers, he was a partner. So I am just so proud and grateful to have this man caring for and leading our school system, Dr. Gregory Thornton.
Thank you very much to our Honorable Mayor, and Honorable Stephanie Rawlings-Blake. Thank you to the elected officials, to our parents, and certainly to the folks here at Cherry Hill. Thank you for making this home. I want you to know that I had dinner prior to coming down. They fixed dinner for us. So we're ready. We can spend the night if we have to. We're not in a rush. You know, I had the opportunity to walk and knock on doors with the mayor. You know, that's valuable time, because when you meet someone at their kitchen table, you get a really good feel for what's going on. You know, it's really great to be in the community, to hear the voices firsthand, and to talk to young people. Because as I talk to several young people, I want you to know that they have the same dreams as many of us have. And it's our job to make those dreams come true. So tonight I get an opportunity to be in this is a historic community. And this is not one you take lightly. I can see why the mayor told me to be here. Because this is the place where great things have happened over the years. I think the mayor talked about the future. I will tell you, your legacy is rich. But I'm going to concur, it's rich, folks. But I'm going to concur with the mayor. The best is yet to come. Your future is going to be bright. This is a major, major piece for us. Your children are very, very important to us. And we're so proud that you've entrusted us an opportunity to educate them. So as I look around, I see generations. Because I'm going to suggest everybody probably doesn't have a child in the schools in the area. I met with the 4 principals early on. They told me all the things that I needed to know and what I needed to do. But as I look around this room, what it says to me is folks care about their community. Their children may have gone on, but they're still here in schools, making certain that the quality of education that their children receive will be the quality of education that the children that are generations to come will receive. So tonight, thank you for allowing us to be in your community. We're excited. And so I'm ready to talk and listen and write down and hopefully try to make some dreams come true for these young people here in Cherry Hill. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Thornton. We have 2 people in the room who are holding microphones. One is actually close to Mr. Donald Henson. His name is Christian Song. Raise your hand, Christian. Has on his Ravens purple. The other gentleman is Mr. Larry Nunley, who is on your right, my left. who's raising his hand, who has a microphone. I want you to both give them both a round of applause. They'll be standing the whole night. Let me say before we get started, and those of you who have a question, just raise your hand and we will come to you as we get started. So don't be bashful and don't be shy. We're just asking that you give us your name and then you give us your question. And Mayor Rawlings-Blake or Dr. Thornton will answer your question. Those of you who are in the room, you should have a survey in your hand. These are very important. These surveys help us understand and interpret the feedback that we get at forums like these. It also has at the bottom, those of you who may have additional questions or comments, there is a Q code at the bottom for your smartphones, and there's also a mini link just above the Q code that you can go to fill out, to complete the survey online or through your smartphone. So feel free to do so right now. So first, who's up? Who would like to ask a question? We have a young lady with a hand up here on my right. We have someone, I see a gentleman in the back with his hand up. So we'll start with you, ma'am. You give us your name and your question.
Okay, good evening. I'm Kathy McLean, raised in Cherry Hill certified. My question is, we have a community plan. We have a 20-year reinvestment strategy for the community of Cherry Hill that was adopted by the city in 2009. Education played a very, very big part in that. As a result of that plan, we have a Cherry Hill education team that has a concept paper, which I have copies of for you, because we did the visioning piece before we got word of the 21st century schools. We've been concerned about education for a very long time. Our concern, though, now that the 21st century schools are coming to pass, is that we went from 4 elementary middle schools to 2 schools, basically, and we're putting all of the kids from the various sections of the neighborhood into one building. We want to pay attention to the culture that's going into those buildings. We don't want to set those kids up for failure. So what we'd like to have help with is doing the work before the building opens to make sure that we don't have a problem once the building opens. We want to know if we can count on you to come out and meet with the Cherry Hill education team so that we can talk further about how this is all going to manifest itself, so that when those kids when the door to that building opens up, that those kids are set for success.
Ma'am, thank you very much for, is that mine to take? Okay. Thank you very much. I certainly agree. It's one thing to open the school, but there's another certainly to prepare for it, and we're committed to doing that. I will say, I did spend a considerable amount of time with the 4 principals in the area, and I'm so proud of the work that they're doing now. I mean, they're doing things like chatting and chewing and early morning breakfast with parents. So what I sense they're trying to do is to create a culture around our community. So certainly you have my word. I'm prepared to come when you're ready, but I will tell you I work for food. So you're gonna have to feed me. And so at the end of the day, no problem, okay. So at the end of the day, not only will I be there, but I will certainly have the administrative team there who knows so much about the community and is so engaged in our community to do the work. I heard things today about PBIS, our positive behavior intervention systems, around getting young people to have the culture that they want. I talked with a group of young men that are doing some things for some boys that are transitioning. So we believe we have the programs. Now we need to organize that thinking and certainly create a pathway that these youngsters walk in and they have minimal transition challenges as they move forward. But your point's well taken. You know, I should be on top of that. This is the first time someone's talked to me about that. But you know, some staff is here. We got it. I'm gonna leave it to you to tell me when you're ready. Is that, you're ready? Right. Tonight?
We can meet after this.
Whoa. Let's try next week. That's great, thank you.
Mr. McLean, you gotta give him the rest. He has to at least see the Ravens. You know, I think he's still rooting for the Eagles. We're trying to. I tell you, I did like this with the holy water and everything, trying to set him straight on the Ravens. We got to at least let him see part of the game to set him straight. It's bad enough we're sitting in here with Steelers fans, but before, it's horrible. But I did want to say, as far as having a holistic plan, that I talked about, and I've talked about it with the council vice president and with the senator. When we're talking about the school plans and the investment, it's a whole plan. And I've hired I'm trying to get 2 city planners that are going to work with the school, the 21st century plan, to make sure that we're leveraging all of those resources. It's not just the schools. You know, we have a new recreation center coming. All of those things have to work together, as well as the development that's happening around here, to make sure that, you know, that master plan is a reality, not just a dream for this community. So my commitment to you is, as we're doing that work, that I have someone that is on board, that is going to make sure, you know, the physical pieces of it get to where we need them to be.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
How you doing, Mayor Stephanie Rawlings-Blake? I had the honor of meeting you at New Shiloh about a month and a half ago. Just to give a little short, minor bio of me, I grew up out Cherry Hill since I was 7 years old. I lived out Cherry Hill for 57 years, and I'm 57 years old off and on. I have an associate's degree in psychology, and I am 1-page paper away and 2 questions from a comp exam to get my BA from Morgan State University in December. I'll have my BA degree in philosophy with a concentration in religious studies. My question is just to say that to the CEO, whatever you implement, as long as it's got it the right way, I'm quite sure it's been tested. I'm quite sure it's been in your mind to do. You surveyed the situation. You know it'll work. It's up to the people of Baltimore City to just give them patience and let his plan work. And to the parents, you have to get involved with your kids. You know the curfew law is in effect. I just saw in the news today there's a $500 fine if it's violated. You can waive that fine if you sign up for any type of parental plan with the mayor, and you can get with the mayor on that. I just like to say that if some things need to be changed in every community, it starts from within, and I just believe that as a concerned person as I am, as God is talking to me, it can work. I've been working closely with Ms. Simmons. She's the principal at New Era High School. And to tell you the truth, Mayor, I have never seen a woman work so hard in my life since Alice Penderhughes. And I think the Board of Education is named after Alice Penderhughes. This lady comes in at 5, and she's the last one to leave. She's just like a Marine. No, she gets more work done by 6 than most people do all day. And I'd just like to give her a hand.
Thank you, sir. Yes, ma'am. Please give us your name, and you can give us your question.
I'm not finished.
Yes, sir.
I'm not finished.
Sir, excuse me, I'm sorry. 2 things. I'm right here. 1, your name. 2, can you give us your question?
Okay.
And then let it be concise. Yes, sir.
My name is Curry Eugene Hamilton I.
All right.
The question I had to ask you, I heard the mayor said that she has 2 advocates of Cherry Hill. Well, I just want to say 2016, Curry Eugene Hamilton will run for city council of the 10th district.
I'm sorry, Mr. Curry. I thought you had a question. Yes, ma'am. Give us 1 second. There we go.
My name is Shirley Folks, and one of my concerns is the arts in the school. Are they going back into the school? Because that too is much needed.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Education is just like a diet. And in a diet, you want it balanced. And one of the things that we've taken away from the diet that young people get is arts. So as we move forward, arts is at the top of my agenda. because of the fact that I want well-rounded young people who basically understand and can actually sometimes get up in the morning for what excites them. Sometimes will be the ticket that takes them on to college. So as we move forward, I will tell you that we're working very closely with the local foundations, the local partnerships, and if we were to prioritize things today, that would be in the top quartile. I'm talking about the performance arts, the visual arts. You know, these are the things that our young people love to do. So you don't have to worry as money becomes available, as we continue to build partnerships, and there's a lot of people that I'm finding in Baltimore that really want great things for children. The arts are there, we're gonna restore them, and hopefully we're gonna create ways that our kids are gonna wake up in the morning saying, I can't wait to get to school because I wanna sing, I wanna dance. And while they're here, we're gonna work on that reading, we're gonna work on that math, we're gonna work on that social studies and science. So your point's well taken. I'm looking, maybe you'll come in and do a little volunteering. And then, okay, just don't hold me to it. All right, that's great.
Go back on this side. Yes, Mike. Yeah, this Mr. Mike had his hand up.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, and welcome, Mr. Thornton.
Thank you, sir.
One, I just wanted to reiterate a couple things that the mayor had said. My name is Michael Middleton, and I'm chairperson of the Cherry Hill Community Coalition. Madam Mayor, a number of things are going on in Cherry Hill. One of the concerns we had, and we understand, is that educational excellence for our children won't come about merely because of brick and mortar. Particularly in this community, where we had one of the greatest enemies, and that is poverty. Unless the issue of poverty is addressed overall, and as the mayor indicated from a holistic perspective, we don't have great schools, and our kids will be doing just as miserable as they've been doing beforehand. Now, we have established a number of partnerships. Unfortunately, a lot of this has been the motivation of you, Madam Mayor. Last time I called you out here in March, you brought the Housing Commission, and I made complaints about the commission. I want to tell you that since then, the commission's made a promise to start building mixed-income housing in what is now Fisher Cove. And we meet with them on a monthly basis. But secondly, we have done partners with Baltimore City Community College, who will be working with our high school students in developing career planning and courses of action for those kids that don't intend to go on to college. But also work with adult literacy programs. And most importantly, is willing to work with us on doing job readiness preparation, as well as for workforce development. These can't come about, however, if we don't have a couple other things from you, Madam Mayor. One is we need a facility. As the new schools come in, we expect that there will be some schools that will be closed. Those schools then will become either surplus property of the city, or the school system may very well maintain those buildings. We need to have a facility for adult education, for GED, for workforce development, and things of that nature, which presently does not exist. I hope we can get that from you. We have a planner that's been working with us very diligently. You know Rick. And with this, and that's right. Here's the song right. We are also have made revisions to our master plan so that they are consistent with the casino master plan. We recognize that that's an additional resource to the South Baltimore area. So I'm asking because you got the last say on how money is going to be spent ultimately. Even though this community has participated thoroughly in all three sessions in setting priorities, we need you to keep us in mind. We believe that we have community organizations here in Cherry Hill who are ready, willing, and able to assist in the community involvement, the parental involvement that will be absolutely necessary to carry us forward. We may need some help, but we definitely need some help to have those community institutions that already exist here in Cherry Hill to do what they can to address the holistic plan that both you and I have talked about. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Deputy Mayor. So, you know we're always going to be on the same page because I appreciate that you lot more than identify problems. We're going to work to have solutions. And we've worked together in the past, we're going to continue to do that. When you have an issue about workforce training, we'll address that as we're planning for that, the facilities money. I think that's important to keep that in mind, how we can incorporate in our plans, how we can incorporate adult education and workforce training. I hear you. And we'll continue to do that. And please bring it up, you know, our planner is here, you'll bring it up with the housing commissioner when he comes. The only, I like to be on the same page with you, but there's only one place I differ, and you said that until we deal with the issue of poverty, we're not going to be able to have educational excellence. And I'm going to disagree with you there. I don't think there's anybody in here that does not agree that poverty is a problem, but it's not an excuse. And so many of us grew up in challenged homes, in challenged economics, and still had educational excellence. What you see here today is what makes a difference, and that's parental involvement. And that doesn't, there's no salary attached to that. It's about doing what Cherry Hill has always done, which is be engaged in the lives of their kids. So I think we are certainly working on bringing people out of poverty. You know that. I'm very focused on making sure that people have opportunities for jobs. I fought like, to change the law so more people had an opportunity when that casino came in. And we made sure that they took that job fair, the academy to offer jobs to community, to every single council district in the city. That's never been done before. So that's just a part of it. We're certainly committed to making sure that people are able to provide for themselves and their family, but that should never be equated with the ability to have educational excellence, because we have plenty of people that have challenges that still find a way, because they're involved, to partner with their schools, partner with their teachers, and make sure that their kids have their best. I would never want that to be an excuse for why we can't demand excellence for our kids. So that's where we're going to disagree. But everything else we're on the same page, and I'll make sure between planning and housing we follow back up with the other pieces.
Yes, I saw a hand up on this side, and then we'll come back to the back and get back over here. Your name and your question.
My name is Jessica Damon. Can you hear me? Okay, my name is Jessica Damon. I'm the school liaison from the Federal Hill Neighborhood Association. That's a small volunteer organization in Federal Hill, which is on the other side of the water. And I've been in that position for about 2 years. In that capacity, I've worked very closely with Digital Harbor High School, with the principal and vice principal there on several different projects. And been less involved with Federal Hill Prep, but I have some observations about that also. I have an observation and I also have a question. Digital Harbor High School is one of those schools where the students actually have to put their names in for a lottery. And so it's not exactly a magnet school, but it also has some self-screening, and is that you would expect that there would be interest if you're putting your name into a lottery to go to a school that specializes in digital and technical fields. The high school has been around, I think, I'm not very good with statistics, but I think it's been about 5 years. Before then, it was considered Southern High School. Most of the students, I would say about 90% of the students, are commuter students, and they're coming a long way to get there. There are students who live in the neighborhood from South Baltimore, but I would say most of the students are students who are coming from other areas of the city. They have to take the bus to get there, and it's a long commute. I say all this because I want to set the stage for my question, and this is the question. In spite of all these kind of criterion, we still have a very serious problem with attendance or lack thereof, at this school. Many of the students who go into that school, and these are the statistics which I find appalling because my kids went to Montgomery County schools. They're entering 9th grade, and the average reading level is 4th grade. Of course, average is skewed by extremes, and the average math level is 5th grade. So the teachers who work there are very devoted, and they work very hard, and they have special programs to help get these students up to speed. But on any given day, there's a significant number of students who are roaming the neighborhood. And when I've inquired with Dr. Iyer, well, Mr. Iyer, who's the principal, Dr. Bowden, who's the vice principal, some of the problem is that many of the students will come to school. They have a system where they put a fingerprint on it. And then they proceed to leave different exits. The exits have to be open because of fire marshal rulings, which obviously you don't want exits locked. But there seems to be very little ways to control that. Now, from a personal standpoint, I see these students roaming around in Federal Hill Park. I see the students in, there's a wonderful basketball court. I mean, if they're not bothering me, I don't, it's not a sweat off my back in a sense, but they're not in class. And you have this, there's a flyer here that talks about the importance of being in class. To get the specific statistics about how many actually just come in, sort of kind of get their name on the list as attending and then proceed to leave classes, it's rather difficult to get. So I would say that that's a priority, to get better statistics and find out what percentage of students are actually leaving, or what percentage of students are actually going to class, and in all their classes when they come in.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Hammond. Any comment from either of you, or we can go to the next one?
Ma'am, thank you very much. I've had the privilege of actually being a part of a tour that's gone through digital. And I want you to know that how proud I was. I had an opportunity to sit in on a number of AP courses, and I had an opportunity to talk to a lot of children. And I would suggest that the behavior of a few shouldn't define what the balance, because the balance of the children are doing good things. There are a couple ways we can get around this, or get to this. One is that right now the system takes daily attendance, which is a good thing. But what you're seeing happening in high schools around the country is going to period attendance. Once you make a move to period attendance, you're able to know exactly what classes youngsters are in and youngsters are not in. To be able to participate in a school outside of your zone, for me, my understanding, is a privilege. And failure to comply with the rules of the privilege that's been bestowed upon you and being late to class would suggest to me that you may need to be somewhere closer to home. So as we move forward, let me have an opportunity to dig a little deeper. I do know there are some processes that we can use, but I'm somewhat concerned about the 4th grade because the system average is way above that. So let me do some research and disaggregate and take a look at who's going into digital. But at any rate, I will tell you the few kids that are not behaving well are not the majority, and certainly the kids that I've had an opportunity to talk to get up every morning, they get earlier than most, they get ready, they come, they stay in school all day, and let me tell you, they're doing some really great things. So we're not going to define the school based on a few, but if there's a few, we'll be aggressive in dealing with it.
Thank you, sir.
I need to say, excuse me, that the number is more than a few. And that's why I asked for hard statistics about the number who actually sign in and, and then the number who actually stay to their classes.
Be glad to.
And I would also love to see an enforcement of that policy. If you're not really committed, I'm incredulous. Why go through all that trouble if you're not going to stay in class? One day I drove by, and there's a wonderful basketball court, and I saw the students playing basketball. I called the school, and then when I went to the next meeting, they said there were 100 students at the basketball court during school hours. Now, on a beautiful spring day, I like to be on a basketball
I'm sorry.
court. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Okay.
No, it's okay. Excuse me. One, we couldn't hear you. Sorry, because the microphone.
I got it.
But I think what Dr. Thornton is saying is duly noted. We have a couple people who have questions, and I just would like to say to those of you who pose your question, think about what your question is and try to be as concise as possible. We have a lot of young people here that would like to ask a question. Marcus and Nicholas, if you're in here, I met you when you came in. I want one of you to ask a question. I want you all that are present to give the young people here a round of applause for their patience. But for the parents that are here who brought their children, I salute you, and I know that attention spans are limited for both adult and children, including me. So we're going to try to keep our questions concise so that we can leave on time. Again, Marcus and Nicholas, you know who you are. I would like one of the young people who are present to ask a question during the session. Yes, sir. Your name and your question.
My name is Aaron Case, and I'd like to inquire about us getting a facility. We have a new era at our high school, and we don't have a legitimate high school football field. I'm currently the vice president of the Cherry Hill Eagles football program. We've been participating in Pop Warner, Baltimore City for years. We don't have a facility with lights, with the fields, benches. We have the parents were there today, and they have to sit on the grass. Once daylight saving time goes, and we're an advantage. There are other organizations throughout the city who have state-of-the-art football fields and facilities that they can continue to play. Once it gets dark, the parents can come down and feel comfortable and sit somewhere. We don't have any of that. We have Rebar Park down there with a wide open flat surface that's been there for years. So what we're inquiring about is trying to get a facility that we can use after hours, meaning when it gets dark and so forth. And I guess it would be on the school side as well as the city side when recreation will use it. And that's my question. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Hicks. We had a chance to see each other. I think it was over the weekend when we were out there. Monday, yeah, so thank you for all that you do for the young people in this community. And I'm going to, if it's okay, Dr. Thornton, speak for you and me and say that I know I hear you, and we will consider that request as well as all of the needs assessment that's done as we plan for the capital improvements in our recreation offerings as well as the school construction. So thank you.
Yes, sir. You have a question?
I appreciate it. Hi, my name is Lance Morrow, and I teach middle school mathematics here at Friendship Academy at Cherry Hill. I will make my question brief due to time. In addition to what we talked about earlier with performing arts, here at Cherry Hill, we have industrial arts, martial arts, we have traditional arts, and we have culinary arts that's coming as well. When we speak about performing arts and with the renovations to the building, and once again, thank you for your hard work with the transformations of the 21st century schools, what we need to find out is who do we need to speak to in regards to raising money for a separate auditorium. So within the remodeling of the building, we will have a stage that is connected to the cafeteria. And that presents a problem for us because whenever we want to have an actual play of any source, the chairs have to be removed and it causes a problem. So what can we do to actually raise the funds on our own for?
So I think it's a different conversation. For me, we raise funds when there's a gap. I think we have an opportunity as we are, I think Cherry Hill's in year 2, right? Year 1. Sorry. So we have an opportunity between the school construction work and the capital improvements that we have planned for recreation. Let's see if we can build spaces between those investments that can suit multiple purposes. You know, I think I was just with the Vice President of the City Council, Ed Reisinger, in Morrell Park, where we had a recreation center, but it's more than a recreation center. There's the basketball space, there's space for computer classes, adult education space, there's a place for seniors. We built and designed based on what the needs were for the community. So I think it's important to continue to participate in that process through planning to put all of the community needs. We might not get everything that we want, but at least let's have a conversation so we can try to meet as many needs as possible through this process.
I'm just going to follow up. I just want the audience to know the young man that stood up. He's a Morehouse graduate, and he's here in our community helping our children. I want you to know how much I appreciate you. I certainly agree, and as the gentleman spoke in the back, having the appropriate facilities is very important. It's just like having the tools to do your job. One of the challenges we have with auditoriums is the state does not allow us to build auditoriums. It allows us the opportunity to renovate auditoriums if there's an auditorium in place, but that's not a no. It means that we got to be more creative. We got to look at partnerships. We got to look at ways in which we can leverage the entire community resource, as the mayor has basically shared, to create that opportunity. I think I know a community like certainly Cherry Hill would benefit based on the work that you're doing and many of your colleagues each day are doing it in classrooms, and I think to have a place to showcase that work would be good. And the person I want you to talk to is a young lady right here at the end of the meeting. I think she can certainly provide some direction with respect to school construction and how we can be creative. You know, sometimes it takes creative strategies to get to where we need to get. But I think, I know how smart you are and I know how smart she is. I believe we can come up with a creative solution, especially with the collective wisdom probably in this room. So thank you for what you do every day. And why don't the two of you talk right at the end of the meeting.
Great. Well, yes, ma'am. Don't forget to give us your name.
Hi, good evening. My name is Betty Bays, and I first want to welcome you to our great, great community. First. I'm one of the community leaders out here, and one of the volunteers, and one of the young senior volunteers that's here. We volunteer at the schools, and we're under Experience Corps volunteers, and I tell you, it's great work that's being done from the kindergarten to the 3rd grade. The teachers love us, the children love us, and we need support where out of the 3 schools, if we can find some funds to have it in all 3 schools, because we does great work and help our children a lot. And we have brought the grades up because the teachers need all the volunteers help that they can get in the classroom. And the children gets the extra love, we get extra love, and that support helps because a lot of parents are working. And so we are there to help and get that support. Now we're asking for more support, so find some funds for Experience Corps to go to all 3 of our other great schools, all 2 great schools. And we need y'all help. Thank you.
Ma'am, first let me thank you and anyone else in this room and anyone you know that's volunteering. I can't think of more admirable work than going in and working with our children. Please give them a round of applause. You know, the more adults we put in classrooms, the more adults, it's a lot of work on a teacher. Sometimes our teachers have 26 to 30, and every time you put another adult in the classroom, it allows you an opportunity to individualize and personalize learning and help young people. You know, young people want that level of support. So as we move forward, one of the things that because of the good planning that's happened is that our schools will certainly, I think, be benefited by the fact with fair student funding that there will be more dollars coming in to do some of the things that you talked about doing. The challenge we have right now, the way our algorithms is built, they're not advantageous to small schools. But I believe as we move forward, we'll be better positioned. And if not, then I just got to go search for some dollars. I'm not gonna promise you anything tonight, but I'm gonna go search for some because I believe that Experience Corps provides value added every day in the lives, whether they're zipping up jackets at the end of the day because it's cold outside, or opening milk in the cafeteria, or teaching them how to make their letters, whatever it takes. Once you know how much we appreciate it, the parents appreciate it, so we'll be creative. But I think you're going to see some relief with respect to the budget as the schools get bigger. Does that answer it? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, in the back. Yes.
Yes, my name is Aubrey Wilson, biggest concern is now that y'all are combining the schools together, when you find that you have a problem with the teacher, that the teacher's not teaching correctly, and you actually come up here and see that that teacher's not doing that job in a professional manner, what is it that we can do as a parent to advocate or do something about that? Because I brought that to a couple of, the principal and a couple of people into the school when my son was in this last year's class and he had problems, and all they could do is say, well, we can work with the teacher and try to help her, but at the same token, my son had suffered because of that situation. So like I said, my biggest concern is once y'all do combine the schools, how are y'all gonna facilitate that problem?
Well, sir, a couple of things. One, I had the opportunity to spend the evening with these 4th grade principals, and certainly I understand what you're saying. But based on my conversation, I don't think they're going to tolerate poor behavior on the part of a teacher in the classroom. If so, then certainly you have recourse, and that recourse certainly is to contact my office. And certainly I would have an advocate to sit at the table, certainly to work with you and the principal. But based on the results that I'm seeing here, also the other 3 schools in the district, they're well on their way and focused around student achievement. So let's work together. I'll be around afterwards. Let me get your name. And let's talk a little bit about maybe meeting with that potential principal and talking about what we can do to make certain your youngster has a good educational experience. More than glad to do that with you.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson. Thanks for coming out tonight. We have a lot of parents here tonight, and it's good to see that. Yes, ma'am, and then we'll go to the young lady next to you, and then we'll go back to the back. Yes, ma'am.
Hello, thank you for coming. My name is Danielle Battle. My question is with the rollout of the next-gen science standards and this new push with all the information about how the children in elementary school, when it's time for them to go into careers, the majority of the careers will be STEM-based. But at the same time, Park and Smarter Balance aren't testing science, so I feel like sometimes there's an imbalance in what teachers focus on. What kind of initiatives will Baltimore City be making to make sure that STEM is really, really steeped in the education, and what are we doing to kind of inform parents that this is something that they need to be looking at, because when these babies graduate, these are the kind of jobs that will be there?
Well, let me first commend you for doing your writing. You know what, both consortia from Smarter Balance to Park, we're a Park assessment state. And as a result of that, STEM certainly takes the front seat of looking at our future and where we are. I'm disappointed to say that we're not at a point where we're going to have certainly science being tested through our normal assessment cycle. It will come. The focus right now is certainly in reading and mathematics. But where we're going is basically the interdisciplinary approach of embedding that into the reading and reading in the content area. So as we move forward this year, we will begin strategic staff development around the science work that is going to be so important. You know, be integrated is one thing, but we need to create the practical, hands-on approaches that kids are going to need, because I believe, I haven't seen this science standard assessment, but I believe it's going to be heavily based on hands-on and initiatives around investigating, exploring, and things of that nature that we haven't historically done. So as we move forward, your question is right on point. We're there. We're now utilizing actually the science material in our reading series to actually use content reading at grade level, which I think drives the reading scores that the young ladies talked about earlier today as our first step, and then potentially to move for a very full-blown science agenda integrating with mathematics. We're looking at blended learning. We're looking at the integration of science and math together. I think, you know, that's what that STEM is about. You know, and one person talked tonight about the arts, and then what I see as a national movement is something called STEAM, science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. And I'm sure you read that because you look like a reader. So we're on top of it. We're moving not at the pace that I would like. We're going to be aggressive. That will be the work that we will go into the spring with.
Yes, ma'am.
Hello, my name is Veronica Lloyd, and I wanted to ask a question about libraries. Now, we have an interpret that will help our kids in the future and get a librarian to help them also?
Ma'am, your point's very well taken. Libraries are a key point, and I think the development, especially our youngsters who need to create that fundamental desire to read. You know, it's nothing more exciting than taking a library book home and having that book at home. What I'm seeing is that our community has realized that, and a lot of our philanthropic partners in the community have stepped forward, and allowed us an opportunity to use them as a vehicle to begin to build libraries in our school. One individual provider has actually, I think, completed their 4th library and have 3 or 4 more. That's a major part for us as we go into our new building initiatives. We're looking very aggressively at space to allow our youngsters to move not so much a library experience, but we're thinking of something called cybraries now. And in a cybrary is not only the traditional books that we used to have, it's the utilization of technology along with the library, which we're calling cybraries, as the place that we want to be moving forward. These schools in Cherry Hill are going to be positioned as leaders in this work. And so that's something you should be very proud of. You're going to lead the district around the whole reinventing of libraries. Nothing's changed. You know, I'm looking for libraries to go to Netflix, and I'm not making a commercial for Netflix, but things are changing. Technology is going to be the driving force. But so your point, your concern is well taken, but I think you'll be very proud of the outcomes when we begin to put shovels in the ground and renovations begin to happen, and you're able to walk in and see this new library that's full of books and full of technology. I think that's the things that you want for your children.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Hello, can you hear me? My name is Ijama, and I do a lot of community and education research here in Baltimore City. And in my line of work, I've seen that a lot of parents hesitate to enroll their children in traditional public schools because of its negative image. And I was wondering if there's any plan to improve that along the way, as well as what your views are on charter school expansion and how that conflicts with actually improving the image of traditional public schools.
I think one of the things that we suffer from is letting other people make up our minds for us about everything. You know, we'll listen to HBO about Baltimore before we look at the truth. I think we have some neighborhood schools that are doing outstanding work. We have schools in our city that rival some of the religious schools and the private schools. But if we wait on others to tell that story, the only time that we're going to be on the news is if somebody hits a teacher, right? But so we have to find out for ourselves. And I know that Dr. Thornton understands, and I'm going to turn it back over to him. Understands that we have to tell that story, but we also have to share the information. I'm a product of public schools. My parents were a product of public schools. My daughter's in public schools, and she's at our neighborhood school. And I didn't let other people's opinion of the schools make up my mind. I did my own research and looked at what was going on. And it's not about, and there's a lot of conversation about what are you doing with the charter and charter expansion. It's not either or, it's both. Some parents want their children to experience charter schools, just like there's some people that like a newly built home, some people want to rehab. It's different tastes, and you have to be able to provide all of those in a thriving city. But for me, it's about getting our story and not being shy about talking about the outstanding students that we have. I mean, our kids go down these chess tournaments and different things, and they kick some you know what. But we don't hear those stories. We have to tell those because we really do have some great schools, great teachers, and great kids. We have to do a better job of telling our own story and not letting certain outlets be our opinion makers.
And I would certainly concur. Shame on us for not telling the story of the greatness of our kids. You know, I've only been in town for a few weeks now, and it was very evident to me. I was in Cotton State the other day in the gymnasium. I was at the robotics fair. Let me tell you something. Those young men are on their way to greatness. They're scientists and young ladies, and I was really especially proud of the young ladies. But when the perception doesn't intersect with reality, I pause. And what I see based on the number of kids going to school, I see the graduation rate basically trickling up. I see kids coming to school at attendance rates moving to higher levels. I see the amount of scholarship dollars that are coming to the system. And then I see the schools that our youngsters are going to. They started here, they stayed here, and many of our youngsters are matriculated at some of the top universities in America. So we got to do a better job in telling the story. It was apparent to me. So you know what I did? I hired what I think is the best guy in the country. That guy, see that good-looking guy standing against the wall? His name is Mr. Hassan Charles. He is going to tell the story. And his story is going to be so good. We're going to have to build some buildings because folks are going to come because everybody wants to be a part of something that's good. So I do appreciate your concern. That was one of our first appointments. And I got lucky enough to get this gentleman to leave his private practice. He's been in Washington, D.C. He's been all over the country. And I will tell you, he's ready. He's up to it. By virtue of him just being here tonight, talks about his commitment to telling the story. I can't wait till we read what happens tomorrow from him. So thank you to Hassan. Thank you, ma'am. But I'm going to tell you, you know, there's a story and then there's the truth. I want you to take the time to dig for the truth. And when you get to the bottom of that, what you're going to be able to see is, wait a minute, that doesn't match what I'm seeing. You know, the mayor's a product of public school. I'm a product of public school. The mayor's children went to public school. My children went to public school. I believe public schools are the saving grace of America's young people. Last question, what I think of charter schools? No more than what I think of traditional schools. I like great schools. I don't care if they're charter or public. I want great schools. I want the kind of schools that I want my children to go to. When I step up to a school in the morning, the first thing I say, I got a little granddaughter, she's cute. She doesn't look anything like me. I look at that school, and this is what I say. Is this a school that I want my baby to go to? If the answer is no, then I got to go to work on it. So thank you.
All right. Yes, ma'am. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you want to? Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Is it for me? Well, my problem is I don't see where things are improving because I've been in this community for 42 years. I brought 3 children, I raised 3 children here, and things just seem to be going downhill. They taking the schools away, they taking everything that helped the children away. They took the high school away, they took the middle school away, and gave it to academy, and now they're taking the elementary schools away. The children are not happy when they come home from school most of them because there's no happiness there. There's no gym, there's no recreation time, there's no music, none of the things that make a well-rounded child.
Thank you.
And I'm not satisfied because I'm 67 years old and I was raised up in public schools and it was different. It was always somebody there to help you. But if you keep on taking away everything and making it smaller and smaller and encaging everybody in a small place and making the schools too crowded, I don't see where they're helping the children.
Thank you.
So first, thank you for coming out, and I appreciate your comments and respectfully disagree. This community is a community where we are slating for a lot of investment, and we talked about it. It's on year 1 in the school construction plan, so we talked about that already this evening. That's not taking away, that's adding new schools. I also also talked about the fact that Cherry Hill is slated for a new recreation center. That's adding, that's not taking away. I'm many things, I'm not God. I cannot wave a magic wand and change tomorrow. But we are talking about the work that is being done now to make better for the future. I'll tell you that in my life, I've experienced that there's some people who see things half empty and half full. Cherry Hill has a lot of promise and a lot of potential, and I will always see it as half full and on the rise because there are people here committed to better. We have investments that are coming to Cherry Hill, and there are a lot of happy children here. When I come to visit the schools down here, I see happy children. When I come to schools down here, I see parents and grandparents that are volunteering in the schools because they care. You have to open your eyes to all that's there. If you want to see the negative, you'll see it every single day. But you have to open your eyes to the whole picture. And there's a lot going on in Cherry Hill. There's a lot of progress that's going on, and there's more to come.
Yes, yes, ma'am. Name and question.
Okay, thanks. Hello, my name is Malika Jones, and I'm a community member. I work with heavier children. I'm here. But here's my question. A lot of times, children come into the school building, and they have an attitude. And sometimes those attitudes stem from home. What are teachers supposed to do when 75% of the class is acting crazy because of issues going on at home, but there's no guidance counselors? There's nobody for the children to actually talk to get their voices out, to get those emotions out. Instead of acting out, what exactly is your plan to help the children, I guess, vent outside of arts and music? Who are they going to talk to?
Ma'am, on many fronts, you're absolutely right. And I get the opportunity to see those young people each day. And a lot of them do come to school very bruised, not physically bruised, but very, very mentally bruised. And trauma lives in their lives. And it's because of those things, I don't think those young people are able to reach the hopes and dreams that we all have for them. What we're doing now is beginning to look at ways in which we can leverage all the resources, not of just the school district, but of the city as well. We have a number of agencies here that we're working very, very hard independently, but we're not working smart collectively. So what we're attempting to do is to create a way in which we have a collective intel on families, so where we know kids are hurting, where kids have challenges in the home, we can begin to do some preventive things going in the home, because if they're acting out at school, they're acting out at home. So we believe that the work and the conversations we're having now is to certainly get to a place where we can prevent, so we can certainly be proactive. You know, it's not unusual when a youngster potentially doesn't get the meal he needs in the morning to act out. It's not unusual sometimes when a youngster gets up and he doesn't have the uniform or the things that the other youngsters have. We know that. Because we know that, now we need to take some steps to actually work with that youngster, to provide the mental health support that youngster may need, the support that family may need, but you got to do it in a holistic way, bringing our health department, our social services department, our schools together, to wrap ourselves around that family to give them the support that they need.
Thank you, Dr. Thornton. And it is now 8:29, and we are running up against the clock, and we want to certainly stay on time due to the fact that the school was kind enough to allow us to host the event here, Madam Mayor, and they have staff and employees that are paid according to a shift. So on that note, I would like to emphasize those of you who were unable to ask a question or give us your comment, if you would complete the survey. Those of you who have a smartphone, certainly just tag the Q code at the bottom of the survey, or you can follow the mini link just above the Q code. I am now going to turn it over to Madam Mayor for closing remarks, and then we can get the school on its way.
I thank you very much, Gus, and I want to thank the entire team here at the school for making this available to us. I want to thank all of you for coming out. Again, reiterate what Gus said. If you didn't get your question answered or you had a concern that you did not feel comfortable raising, please fill it out so we can follow up, and we'll share any information that is relevant, that needs to be directed to the schools with Dr. Thornton's team. Before I close, I do want to offer the second to last closing remarks to Dr. Thornton. And again, thank him for being here in Cherry Hill. This is the first neighborhood that he came for an education forum, and I'm very proud that he's here talking about the education future of the church.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. You know, probably our mayor probably could have taken me anywhere in the city. She has the right to do that. But she chose Cherry Hill. And it's obvious to me after her and I walked and knocked on doors the other day that there's something special going on in Cherry Hill. There's a sense of hopefulness. And I'm going to tell you, folks, it's contagious. I feel it. Your mayor feels it. You know, one of the young speakers said, well, we were closing schools. What we're trying to do is make schools better. In some communities, we're down to 1,000 kids. A mayor would have walked away from the community and said, put the kids on the bus because it's economically cheaper to do so. Instead, what she said, we're going to take this opportunity and we're going to actually take 2 schools and we're going to make them state-of-the-art, 21st century schools. That's the type of leadership that we have in the city. I'm excited that my start was in Cherry Hill. I won't say my last stop will be Cherry Hill, but I know I've been invited back for dinner because a lady over there has invited me to come talk about the transition. So I will tell you, the best is yet to come. Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. Thank you, Cherry Hill. And go Ravens tonight. That's my favorite AFC team.
All right. Just one last thing, Madam Mayor. Before we move, I just want everyone to remain calm for 1 second. The children of Cherry Hill, and certainly of the school and many of the teachers, have a gift that they would like to present to Madam Mayor and Dr. Thornton. So we have the principal here, Ms. Garrett, who would like to make the presentation.
Good evening, everyone. We just wanted to give the mayor and Dr. Thornton just some of the vegetables that are from our school garden. And we thank our partners, Northrop Grumman, American Heart Association, MedStar, Harbor Hospital, BGE, all of those partners that helped us with this garden.
Rich veggies, by the way.